Welcome back. We haven't seen Drevlin in a little while, but the oppressive gods are now gone. We could still use heat on this sensor to wake this guy up, but we don't really have a reason to do that, so I think we'll let him sleep. I do want to see if we can go out to the dock again, though. You wander out into the storm. You find nothing of interest except for the ever-present rain and lightning, so you make your way back into the cavern. Lexi says we ought to check on Xar and her beloved Limbeck. Yes. I don't think we're going to have much of a choice. Seems like our entire available pathways in Drevlin are through their homes. Here he is. Let's talk to the man.
Ah, my friend, have you heard? The gods are gone. Their glow disappeared, and my people rose up and cast them out. It was beautiful. Now, we must reorganize our lives. Many of us feel lost without the guidance of the gods. I believe it's my job to keep their morale up. I'm writing a speech about that now.
That's nice. I'll leave you to your work.
I think that wraps up the Limbeck story. Now, in the books, there were a couple of dwarves that were sort of main characters in the Ariana's book. I don't know if they were Limbeck and Xar, but they might have been. And I'm not sure about the whole god story. But there was something about them finding themselves as a people. I think that was pretty well preserved. Here she is. How are you doing, Xar?
Hello again. What would you like to talk about now?
She's so welcoming. I wonder what she'll say to this question. Maybe the answer is no.
Have you noticed that the gods are gone?
Know about it? Of course! It's the talk of Drevlin. Grawple's been telling all the children how he outsmarted them. We're lucky we've got such a wise dwarf with us.
So Grawple's taking the credit, huh? We could take the credit, and I don't suppose it would be undeserved, although I think Limbeck does get some of the credit for informing us and giving us context. But I think we'll let the dwarves keep their simple beliefs and lives intact for now.
Nice talking with you. I've got to go.
Sure, I'll be here.
Lexi says we've got to fix the pipes, don't we? And indeed, we do have 5 pieces of pipe now. And after all this trouble just to get that 5th piece of pipe so that we can consult Grawple, maybe. But also, the gods should not be at that digger, which is part of the Kicksey-Winsey. They must be gone now. Our old ship is still here, thankfully. We'll save that for later. The gods may be gone, but Grawple is still not working without the pipes fixed, says Lexi. That's probably true. Let's go check on Grawple. Hello there.
Why are you standing here yammering at me? I'm not talking to you until those gods are gone and my pipe is fixed. You already took my hearing aid, so quit wasting time and get on the job, you lazy, good-for-nothing, lumbering pebble brain.
Doesn't sound like he's taking credit for the gods being gone. Sounds like he's still waiting for it. But that might just have been a development consideration that they couldn't quite smooth over. Alrighty. Let's see what we can do about these pipes. So, we can't rotate them, I don't think. So I think this is just going to be about doing a fairly obvious pipe job here. We can't rotate them, can we? I thought we kind of... Oh, yes, we can. Okay. A secondary click seems to do it. Well, what about that? There could certainly be more than one correct way. What about this kind of thing? That should do it. I think we have to use every piece because we can't do it with 4 pieces. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And then the completed version up there just looks however it looks. And it looks like it's still equipped to drip on Grawple's head. But oh well. You carefully set all the fittings in place and make a connection between the two ends of the broken pipe section. It looks rather bizarre, but appears stable. 20 points. Let's talk, buddy. He'd be upset if he lost his drip, although it doesn't appear to be dripping anymore.
You know the deal. I'm not talking with you until the pipe is completely fixed. The way I see it, there's still a hole. Nothing works yet, so I got nothing to say.
Well, we do have a cork. An extra 10 points? We're raking it in here.
It's not working yet. I won't believe it until someone opens the master valve.
And brings me a sandwich.
You're within stool's reach of this valve, sir. The valve produces a squeal as you turn it, which is soon accompanied by a low rumble. You hear the flow travel through the pipes along the wall and into the new section. Soon the whole room is filled with happy pumping sounds, and the old dwarf brightens up considerably. Look at that, it looks 3D rendered. Cool. Ah, he's found his old self again.
Now what do you want?
Yeah, we certainly have some social options here. Let's get right to the point, shall we?
You agreed that once the gods were gone and the pipes were fixed, you'd answer my questions.
That was our deal, I suppose. And since you did fix the Kicksey-Winsey, I guess I could spin a tale or two with you. What was it you wanted to know?
Once again, stick right to the point.
I'm looking for a piece of the world seal. It's a hexagonal piece of metal with a symbol etched onto it. I thought you might know where I could find it.
I don't remember any world seal. The only thing that comes close was a big statue I found years back in a chamber in one of the old tunnels. Carved into the base of the statue was a symbol framed by a hexagon. Something like the one you describe.
I kind of want to ask him how old he is, but... And even some of these other things, but let's ask him where the chamber is.
Where was this chamber located?
I found it when I was tracing a mineral vein that the Kicksey-Winsey was mining. But since the Kicksey-Winsey filled up the tunnel leading to it, I've forgotten precisely where it was located. If I had one of the old maps, I might be able to locate it. But I doubt such a map even exists anymore.
Well, sir... I happen to have an interesting piece of parchment with a diagram on it.
Well, if such a map did exist, where would I find it?
That's a tough one. I suppose you might find one wherever you'd find any of the ancient documents, but nobody reads them anymore. The map could be anywhere, or it could have been destroyed. Those papers were pretty darn old.
So, what is the deal with these documents? Supposedly, they're not the Sartans. I wonder if they're the dwarves' old documents. Alright, time to inquire.
How old are you really?
Old enough to recognize a smart-ass question when I hear one.
Fascinating effects there.
What is it that the Kicksey-Winsey does exactly?
Sonny, nobody knows exactly why the Kicksey-Winsey was created. The Manjus built it long ago, even before my time. According to the legends, the Manjus intended the Kicksey-Winsey to take care of everyone, of all races in all realms. And before you ask, I don't have any idea what that means.
Those audio aberrations have not let up. Let's try pausing emulation and resuming. Okay, let's see if this is any better.
Can you tell me about the Mangers?
The Manjus created the Kicksey-Winsey. The dwarves worshipped them before the gods showed up. Some say that the Manjus would have been with us still, but something happened. Come close. I found a chamber that contained a statue of a Manja. It was surrounded by crystal blocks with big people in them, much like yourself. I tried but couldn't open the blocks. I think those people inside, they were Manjas.
Well, that's interesting. They created them. He found a chamber that contained a statue of a manager surrounded by crystal blocks. He couldn't open the blocks, but there were people in them. Yeah, it sounds like that.
That's all. Thanks for the help.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we have to see about this audio. Hang on. Let's talk to him again.
Now what do you want?
All right, hold on. All right, let's see.
Nothing right now, but I'll be back.
Fine. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, this is fascinating. Yes, right?
Now what do you want?
Nothing right now, but I'll be back.
Fine. I'm not going anywhere.
All right. I'm going to ask you to allow me to tinker for a moment. Alrighty. Sorry about this. But I think restarting the thing will help. All right. Here's hoping. Thanks, Grawple. Actually, you know what? There was a lot more we could have said to him.
Now what do you want?
At least we can talk again.
Did you notice that the gods have left?
I did hear some yelling and stomping, but I just screamed for those stoneheads to keep it down. Is that what the commotion was all about? Well, good riddance, I say. They were a no-good bunch of charlatans anyway.
Glad you thought so. You had no idea what I had to go through to select this answer.
You had
I'm sure it was quite an adventure, just brimming with danger, intrigue, magic. I've told a tale or two like that myself.
Yes, well. How
How does it feel to be up
again?
and running again?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sitting down. Can't you see very well?
I heard from Xar that you told everyone that you got rid of the gods. That's a lie. I did it.
I did get rid of the gods. I sicked you on them. A fine case of delegation, if you ask me.
Yes, well.
Nothing right now, but I'll be back.
Fine. I'm not going anywhere.
Will I be back? I guess that remains to be seen. Old Grop has a point. All right. Here we are. The brains of the Kicksey-Winsey. Time to do something. What do we do? Oh, wait. We're supposed to bring him a map. Why don't we see what he says about that first?
Hey, this is a geological survey map of the entire continent. Let me look at it. Here's where I discovered that statue with the symbol. It was in this vein of iron ore.
Alrighty.
I remember that vein clearly. I saved a lump of the ore. Somewhere. Look closely at the grain. That vein was one of the best.
Well, he gave us some ore, and 10 points. It's a rough, uncut rock. You take the old dwarf's word that it is iron ore. Because we wouldn't know that. The patrons have no knowledge of anything. The Kicksey-Winsey is an old wooden drill. I think the Kicksey-Winsey is all the pipes and everything that go through the entire continent, and then this is just one part of it. The bizarre object sits idle on the floor. It has a giant drill-like front end. You don't see any way to control it. What have we got here? Compartment. You open the compartment. Controls. Look at the controls. The controls are many and varied. A compartment draws attention to itself, but the rest is a confusing mess. Okay. Can we push the digger? You brace your shoulder against the digger and shove it hard. It rocks a little on its wheels but goes nowhere. The Kicksey-Winsey is the world. Okay, well, what if we tell it that we want it to go and find iron ore? As soon as you slip the piece of iron ore into the small compartment, its door slams shut. Alright. It's very ATM-like in that behavior. Lights flare and whistles blare all over the panel. Oh god. Behind you, the giant digger machine chuffs. Its drill jerks into motion and starts to spin, gradually increasing speed. Puffs of steam toot and hiss randomly from holes. When the drill is no more than a blur, the whole machine trundles towards the wall and melts into as if the wall were butter. Soon it disappears from sight, leaving a dark tunnel behind. I'm sure the digger is sufficiently chuffed to be doing whatever it's doing. Yeah. Is it somehow remotely connected to the controls? Well, looks like we can go in here now. Holy heck. A tall statue of a Sartan is surrounded by crystal caskets. A roughly hewn tunnel runs off to the west. That'd be where we came in. Statue of a robed Sartan, much larger than life, lords over the room, his hands outstretched, as if asking for something. Lexi, okay, but if you know that magic exists, why would you believe anything is a god? Maybe. Coffins. Look at the rune. Ariana's naming rune is etched into the base of the statue. Undoubtedly, this is what the old dwarf remembered. Well, we could put the marker in it. I don't know if that makes any sense. It doesn't seem to be a suitable place to put the marker on the rune. This is a perfect hollow globe forged from flawless crystal. It is a Sartan relic. Did we ever try to identify it? If this is what we need here, it's certainly fortunate that we got it. The globe has no obvious magical function. It's intended to act as part of the ritual to show that the Menge have unified, and to summon the Sartan. Once again, we've identified a non-magical object in a very informative way. I don't understand how that's possible. But if that is indeed what it is, then it could very well be what we're supposed to deposit on this statue. Unfortunately, it wasn't done because the races have united, but we can at least see what happens. Gingerly, you place the crystal globe in the pleading hands of the statue. As it clinks into place, the statue's eyes alight with a blue fire. Shafts of the light pierce down through the globe. Internal facets distort the light as it passes through the crystal so that when it has emerged from the other side, the light outlines a hexagonal shape on the ground. The ground shakes. The section of rock floor, outlined by the blue light, melts away, and Ariana's seal piece rises in its place. Suddenly, the crystal coffins open, revealing hundreds of Sartan, all very dead. The entire experience is rather macabre. Wow. Doug. Hello, Doug. Nice to see you again. Does this game promote Sartanism? It certainly would seem to do that. I'm guessing it doesn't get too much more ritualistic than this. Very dead is a classic phrase, isn't it? There's a certain literary quality to it. The globe has affixed itself to the statue's hands. The statue has bolted the crystal globe to itself. All right. Well, we have the air seal piece. And we got fewer points for getting it than we got for fixing the pipes at Grawple Rock Digger Station. Every one of the coffins is filled by a Sartan body. All of them are, well, that is certainly a literary reference, dead as doornails. Well, I wasn't very dead. I guess very dead means like unmistakably dead, Doug? I'm not sure there's much else to do here. I guess we'll say goodbye to that chamber. It seems that the Sartan's plan was to return, presumably alive, to the three races, humans, elves, and dwarves, when they managed to reunite and find that chamber. Yes. But it didn't work. We got there first with the crystal globe, and they didn't survive for some reason. I don't know if we could have gone back to the Nexus without the air seal piece, but I think we're ready to go back now that we have it. We're not going back empty-handed, that's for sure. Well, Arianis was a wondrous place, and this has been the patron's first glimpse of what has happened in any part of civilization since they were imprisoned. Looks like they haven't fixed all their problems, but they've at least established a way of being. You take the dragon ship back through the Death Gate and return to the Nexus. Well, before we go back to Xar, we have a couple more books that we've acquired. I'm not sure what this handbook is, but we have it. Apparently we didn't need it to get the seal piece, but I do want to check it out. Oh, the Kicksey-Winsey Handbook. Maybe that would have helped us in the puzzle we just solved. Well, let's read it anyway. That's right. Allegedly, that's what I was going to the Brotherhood to get. Really all I needed was the pipe that was in that strongbox. But I wouldn't have been able to get the seal piece without the crystal, so it turns out that that's what I really needed. Anyway, I wonder who wrote this. Maybe we'll find out. The Kicksey-Winsey. The Kicksey-Winsey, as it is affectionately known by the dwarves, who both named and maintain it, is a grand machine. At any instant in time, its size is unknown because it grows and shrinks depending on its circumstances and needs. As an enhancement to its burrowing ability, it has been designed to occupy as much space as it requires. Therefore, it is conceivable that the machine could eventually claim the interior of the entire floating continent of Drevlin. The Kicksey-Winsey is virtually self-sustaining. It builds the necessary equipment, digs the appropriate tunnels, and mines whatever ores are needed to keep itself repaired and expanding. However, because it is possible that the machine will be functioning for thousands of years and that unforeseen accidents could occur, dwarf workers have been posted to supervise its operations. While the Kicksey-Winsey is expanding, it follows certain rules. It creates specific types of rooms and workstations, and every few miles a control center. Naturally, dwarves occupy the workstations throughout the machine to monitor it and perform small tasks. Foremen among the dwarves are assigned to the control rooms. In those rooms, an area's performance is continually updated and displayed on the control panel. Thus informed, the foreman can correctly direct the work of the other dwarves. The control center has a second function as well. Generally, the Kicksey-Winsey mines the ores that it requires. There may be times when a foreman decides that specific ores needed to repair the Kicksey-Winsey are not currently being mined. In that case, a foreman can direct the Kicksey-Winsey to modify, or more accurately, append to its behavior. Each control panel has a compartment specifically designed for such a situation. If a sample of the needed ore is placed inside the compartment, the Kicksey-Winsey will analyze it and dispatch a digger to mine the closest match. It will then deliver the ore to a processing point so that the foreman can make use of it. Lexi, the Kicksey-Winsey is vaguely terrifying. It is a cool concept, isn't it? It's kind of believable. And that last paragraph explained what we just did to find the Sartan's chamber. Aside from its other functions, the Kicksey-Winsey is to be the site for the unification. 3 elements combine to play a part in the process. This manual, a crystal globe, and the Kicksey-Winsey itself. Each will be given unto a separate mensch race. Naturally, the dwarves will retain control of the Kicksey-Winsey. This book will lie in the hands of the humans, and the crystal globe, the final key, will be given to the elves. The mensch races must work together to actualize the unification. When all of the pieces are gathered, representatives will stand in the resting place of the Sartan. A statue of the beloved Sama will be there to greet them, his hands outstretched, as if waiting to receive something. Sama, as we might remember, is the Sartan that Xar mentioned was responsible for sundering the world in the first place. The mensch must surrender the crystal to him. This action will awaken the Sartan and summon the seal piece of Arianis, which will symbolize the start of Arianis' part in the plan. And that's that book. It just mines to keep itself alive, to mine, to keep itself alive, to mine. Oh, I see, yes. And what a book! Exactly. Well, I might have thought going in that that book was only responsible for helping us solve that last puzzle and finding the seal piece. But it seemed to be something larger, or at least it seemed to hint at something larger. Something called the plan. And the plan feels like it might tie to the Sartan's intentions in destroying the world in the first place. Lexi, there are a number of good books in this game so far. They're a real part of the game. You'd have to guess more if you didn't read them, I guess. And we also have another book, the Book of Pryan. I want to read that one too, especially because Pryan, we know, is one of the other realms. But I think we'll break up the reading by talking to Lord Xar and seeing what he has to say. Which makes sense for a game based on a book series, yes indeed. Hey Xar, still there? How you doing? Holding up okay? Let's talk to him.
Welcome back, my son. I see you've been successful. You have Arianis' seal piece. Congratulations. Now, please give me a report.
You hand over the seal piece and describe your adventures on Arianis in detail. Most of the antics of the mensch seem to bore Lord Xar, but he pays rapt attention to the discovery of the reference Book of Pryan and of the crystal coffins holding the hundreds of Sartan corpses.
Amazing. The only Sartan you find are long dead. I wonder if someone has stolen our vengeance from us, or if their consciences did them in. I will have to consider this new information. Now, was there anything else before you use your newfound book to go on to Pryan, Realm of Fire?
Oh. My guess is that the book is going to have the naming rune of Pryan in it, and that's how we'll get there. Because Xar didn't have the naming rune. Lexi, oh man, plot twist, you're the bad guys and we're locked away on purpose. Xar's giving me vibes. It is certainly not clear to me what the total history is, and it seems like we're at least doing a little archaeology on it. But it looks like Haplo feels as though he's in a position to ask questions.
You know, Arianis was not a prison. The Mensch weren't slaves. Most of their problems were of their own making. Perhaps the Sartan knew what they were doing?
My son, of course it may appear to be that way. Naturally, the Mensch weren't rebelling against the Sartan. According to your own report, the Sartan there are dead. Believe me, if the Sartan had been alive, they would have been grinding the Mensch under their heels. We are doing them a favor by removing the Sartan threat forever, or confirming its absence, and finally taking over the reins of their lives. The Sartan were right about one thing. The Mensch do need guidance. They're like children. Listen to your own report. Their squabbles are almost laughable. When we finally bring the world together, we shall give them the leadership that they so sorely need.
Doug says, wait, is this guy your dad? He's not your dad, but he is your lord. And the relationship is fairly paternal. In tone.
What do you suppose killed the Sartan? They all looked fairly young.
I'm not sure. Perhaps a plague. Although I've never heard of a plague so selective that it wipes out an entire race and leaves others untouched. I don't think we have enough information yet. Hopefully you will learn more in your travels.
Doug, thank you for dropping in. I hope you found some comfort in these moments. And when you move on tonight, I hope you find additional Clom Fort? A clom isn't an animal. Thank you, Doug. That is undoubtedly the primary goal of this game, is to destroy the Death Gate, or whatever I'm trying to do. And I do mean that is true.
Can you tell me anything about your research?
The book I'm reading now is titled The History of the Sundering. Not only is it woefully inadequate, but it was improperly stored, and moisture has damaged many of the pages. The book discusses the 6 Sartan responsible for the plan.
The plan?
Sama, Dimitri, Orsef, Lornoi, Tyler, and Wayleth. Each created a specific spell, and for reasons I won't go into, it is vital that I learn which spell each Sartan created. The book did have that information once, but the water destroyed it. So I've been forced to do quite a bit of research on each person.
These must be the 6 Sartan that we saw in the introduction. The half dozen. Dimitri and Tylor are the odd ones out and often teased for having people names. Yes, perhaps. Sama, Orsef, and Wayleth. And Lornoi. Yeah. They all do have kind of a tone to them, don't they? So what are their names? Sama, we know about him. He's the head guy in the middle. Dimitri, Orsef, Lornoi, Tyler, and Wayleth.
I've divined much about their personalities from other texts. I'm hoping that this will tell me what kind of spell they would be likely to create. I've become very familiar with each of them, and I've named them the 6 devils. Each is a devil in a unique way.
Well, we could ask him about any of them. And we might need the information, who knows? Let's ask if we can look at the book first.
Can I take a look at that book?
I'm afraid not. It's so damaged now that I have to keep special care of it. I never move it from this desk, and I turn the pages only with reluctance. I'm sorry.
I think we asked him that before. Okay, let's hear about them.
Tell me about Sama.
I call Sama the devil of the soul. He was insidious. Although the Sartan Council was theoretically democratic, Sama could talk them into anything. In fact, there was much dissension on the council when the plan was discussed. Many felt that it was too extreme, but Sama thundered right through the contrary arguments. The rest is history.
So Sama was the leader there, but Xar has the impression that he charged ahead with this controversial plan to sunder the world. And whatever else plan with a capital P means. Lexi says, nope, I don't trust people who won't give you access to information unless through them. Right. And he calls Sama the devil of the soul. So, I don't know. Maybe because the soul of the whole plan rests with Sama? Let's hear about Dimitri.
What did you learn about Dimitri?
I know Dimitri as the devil of the hand. He was very skilled at a variety of arts and was a talented musician. It's said that his interests were very diverse, and he resented the time he was forced to spend on the council.
Devil of the Hand, that's fairly Brotherhood-esque. So Dimitri was a musician, you play musical instruments with your hand. Okay.
Who is Orsef?
Orsef is the devil of the heart. It is closest to the soul, and in truth, Orsef was Sama's closest advisor. He spent much time among the Mensch, studying them. The Mensch fascinated Orsef for some reason. It was he who was placed in charge of overseeing the transportation of the Mensch into the Four Realms.
Whoa. Overseeing the transportation of the Mensch into the Four Realms? I suppose that would make sense. The Four Realms were created when the world was sundered, so they'd need to get there safely somehow. The Mensch fascinated Orsef for some reason. And he's called the Devil of the Heart because he's closest to Sama. Sam, a good speaker. Dimitri, musician. Ors, anthropologist. All right, let's hear more.
Can you tell me about Lornoy?
I call Lornoy the devil of the eye. He was one of the few that saw the many problems with the plan. He was the leader of the pitiful opposition. I guess it shows how pitiful indeed the opposition was, that Lornoy was one of the instrumental participants in the plan. Sama must have talked swiftly to convince him.
We don't get much about Lornoy's interests, but we think of Lornoy as the devil of the eye because he saw the problems with the plan? The first occurrence of plan there is not capitalized, but I guess that's fine because the plan is a plan. Lorne, thoughtful and careful. Maybe, yeah.
Tell me about Tyler.
Tyler is the devil of the mind. He was the youngest and quickest of all 6 Sartan. If not for him, the plan might never have occurred. Although he was very ambitious, he wasn't nearly the politician that Sama was. Sama used him, as he used everyone to further his own plans.
Tyler is the devil of the mind because he's young and quick? All right. Like, quick mind. Mind is quicker than the mind. We've had a hand and an eye. Tyler, young go-getter, probably liked to skateboard. Yeah, that seems like it follows.
Who is this Wayleth?
I refer to Wayleth as the devil of the tongue. Sama knew that Wayleth was a skilled speaker and well-liked, perhaps almost as good a politician as he. He kept Wayleth from the council for that very reason, and was fortunate that Wayleth had no political aspirations. Otherwise, he might have had a fight on his hands.
So Wayleth wasn't on the council? A well-liked and charismatic speaker. Whaley, also a good speaker but less ambitious. Yes, right.
Let's go back to some other topic.
Of course. What do you want to know?
Of course, that doesn't do anything for us, but it does start to paint a slightly broader picture of what might have happened in the distant past.
Can we talk about some of the subjects you touched on earlier?
Of course. What do you want to know?
Were those 2 different sound clips? I think they might have been. Okay, we're about to go to Pryan, it sounds like, so let's see what Xar has to say about it.
Tell me about the other realms.
Certainly, my son. The Sartan sundered the world into 5 realms. They based 4 of them on the elements: air, fire, stone, and water. The fifth, of course, is the labyrinth. They are all separated by large distances, too far to travel in a lifetime. That's why the Sartan created the Death Gate. Through it, people can travel from one realm to any other.
So, Arianis is the realm of air. I think Pryan is the realm of water. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's what I'll ask about. Let's see what he says.
Can you tell me anything about the realm of water?
Chalestra is the realm of water.
Chalestra is the realm of water.
And in fact, it is a ball of water.
Okay.
At its heart is a sea sun, which warms and lights the interior. The exterior is completely frozen, exposed as it is to the cold of space. Sea moons orbit the sea sun. They are hollow, living creatures which draw energy from the sun. Inside, the Sartan built cities to house not only the Mensch, but themselves. I believe that they intended to finally live there to administrate over all of the realms.
Wow, that's quite a description of a world. Let's hear about both of the others, because those are brief descriptions, but they're incredible. Let's hear about the realm of fire next. Chalestra survives through thermal vents. Yeah, exactly. The realm of water, it is a ball of water. At its heart is a sea sun. Fascinating. Okay, let's hear about fire.
Tell me about the realm of fire.
The realm of fire, or Pryan, is a hollow world. Instead of living on the outside of the sphere, as we did on the original world, they live on the inside, along the inner curvature.
That's so cool.
At the center, 4 powerful suns throw their heat and light upon the ground. I believe it is the largest of the realms, but I know little else about it.
You seem to know a little more than that it's the largest. How would that work? I guess the mass of this giant hollow sphere must be enough to keep people on the inner surface facing toward the suns using gravity? And the sun's mass must be comparatively small? Alright, and the last realm.
What do you know about the realm of stone?
Abarak, realm of stone, is not much more than a rock hanging in space. It's full of warrens, tunnels, and lava tubes. From the sketchy notes I read about it, it sounds perfectly horrible. Definitely the worst place to live of all the realms.
Now, if Xar was a villain, he would like something like that, so he can't be the villain. There are 4 suns in Pryan. Abarak, normal planet, right? I suppose so. But he seems like he knows a little more about what's inside the rock. It seems like it's possible that the rest of the life must know about it too.
Can we talk about something else?
Of course. What do you want to know?
Let's go back to some other topic.
Of course. What do you want to know?
No, that sounded like the same clip. And now we're finally out of conversational topics.
Very well. I'll be here.
Thank you, Xar. Lean over the desk and read the book upside down. You have to be holding the history book to read it, and he's not going to let us take it. So, wow, we really have some books on us now. Which journal is this? Is this the Merchant's Journal? We still have it? Is that really true? We did take it, didn't we? And we have the poetry book, too. Yay! Xar is at the top of my list of potential enemies, says Lexi. Well, I'm glad we're creating our own library here. These things were going to have some value. And we have the Brotherhood book? Man, this is great. Okay, well, let's read the Book of Pryan. I think it's finally time. Ah, look at it. It's beautiful. Xar has a library, we should too. Look at that. I like it. Pryan. It is our hope that the reader has some acquaintance of the designs and motives of the plan. Another book by the Sartan, it sounds like. But should that not be so, we here offer a summary of events transpired, events in the making, and events still to come. Disorder reigns in the wake of the ongoing struggle between the Sartan and the patrons. The Mensch no longer know to whom to pray. A misguided few have actually begun to align themselves with the malevolent machinations of the patrons. If not for the patrons' inherent distrust of alliance and the haphazard nature of their efforts, they might have already claimed victory. And yet the balance of power is shifting, and something must be done before the added support of millions of Mensch proves sufficient to grant the patrons the mastery they so desperately crave. The plan was formulated by council leader Sama. Though controversial, it shows great potential for success. History will judge its efficacy. But given Sama's influence with the council, implementation of the plan seems a foregone conclusion. Sama's plan calls for the world to be sundered into 5 realms. 4 to bear the imprint of elements, 1 of air, 1 of fire, 1 of stone, 1 of water, and a 5th to constitute an supervisory station for the Sartan and a reformatory for the patrons. The prison shall be named the Labyrinth, and woe to any consigned there. Lexi, okay, we're all bad. Everyone's bad for positioning themselves as gods. Only the Mensch are neutral. That much said, we must allow that the plan is not without flaw. The successful administering of these new realms will be contingent on our ability to manage the affairs of the Mensch. Millennia of wars, savagery, and racial intolerance have left them headstrong and unpredictable. But all previous attempts at direct intervention have only exacerbated the situation. I suppose Sama could not be the author of this book because he is mentioned in it. It grows apparent that peace cannot be forced upon them, that they must arrive at peaceful solutions to their problems without outside interference. Well, that seems a little bit more temperate and a little bit less godlike. Consequently, we must temporarily remove ourselves from their affairs, though we remain steadfast in our belief that the challenges posed by new environments will enlighten the Mensch to the failings of their old ways. Each of the 4 realms will determine for itself when the 3 races of Mensch, elves, dwarves, and humans have achieved harmony. When that occurs, the Sartan will reveal themselves for the purpose of leading the Mensch into an even grander future, for it is then that the final phase of the plan will be initiated, the linking of the 4 realms via the Death Gate. This coupling is essential to the full working of the plan, for the realms are not designed to be either self-sufficient or self-determining. When a 4-fold unification of the Mensch realms has been realized, the High Council of the Sartan will re-enter the vortex, and the spell of the sundering will reach completion. We turn now to an analysis of one of the 4 elemental realms, the realm defined by fire, known henceforth as Pryan. Much like our native world, Pryan will be oblately spherical. It will, however, be hollow. Its exterior composed of inert rock, while its interior provides for a breathable atmosphere, arable soil, dense forests, and navigable oceans. Instead of populating the outer surface, Pryan's Mensch will inhabit the inner curvature. Furthermore, 4 massive suns will be conjured in the center of the hollow to warm and light the interior. These suns will neither rise nor set. The ordinary cycles of life will change. But we are confident that the Mensch will, over time, adapt to these new conditions. After Pryan has been forged, we will fashion a structure called the Citadel, whose purpose will be to funnel power through the Death Gate to the other realms. Pryan's 4 suns are to be the source of that power. The Citadel will have ample space to accommodate the 3 Mensch races. What's more, the Citadel will serve as Pryan's unification test site. Each of the 3 races will be given a talisman that symbolizes its role in the new society. When representatives of the elves, the dwarves, and the humans unite at the Citadel and lay those talismans at the door, the citadel will open. The Mensch will be rewarded with a glorious place in which to live, under the tutelage and enlightened guidance of the Sartan, who will arise to greet them. This plan sounds relatively similar to that of Arianis. 2. The opening of the citadel will summon a race of beings known as the Titans, who are designed to operate and service the citadel. Not only will their size and strength permit them to endure the rigors of their tasks, but their specific magical gifts will enable them to protect themselves and the citadel from harm. It sounds similar to that of the horn from Ni no Kuni, says Lexi. Yeah. However, to ensure against the Titans using their endowments for any other purpose, we have devised a method to counteract the potential threat they pose to Mensch and Sartan alike. First, we have kept them sightless. Second, we have rendered their otherwise normal hearing responsive to a sequence of sounds, a string of fraction tones that is unlikely to occur naturally. Whenever the sequence is enabled, and for however long it continues, the Titans will be immobilized. The tune follows. Let's see. It's difficult to read, but let me disable the music from the game for a moment. There we go. I'm going to assume that this is in the key of C, which means that music survived as we know it. Music notation. Looks like it's in 3/4. Not every note is perfectly clear, but that is what I'm seeing. I'm assuming B flats and an F sharp are visible there. Sounds like a sprightly sort of uptune, although I was assuming the speed of it. Sound and trance, the Titans will be vulnerable to a variety of behavior modification and/or enhancement spells. The spells will permit the Sartan to subjugate those included in their birth imprinting. Birth imprinting spells cater principally to basic self-defense and task-oriented citadel operation, along with a specific summon command that directs the Titans to the citadel when unification of the Mensch talismans occurs. Regrettably, the Titans, too, until their summoning, will inhabit the inner curvature of Pryan, but they will be so well removed from Pryan's population centers that the possibility of encounter or interaction with the Mensch is remote. This concealment is more for the sake of the Mensch than of the Titans. Faced with such an intimidating foe, the Mensch might be quick to attack, and an attack against the Titans or the things under their care would only enable their very capable self-defenses, resulting in the maiming or killing of some Mensch. And that is the end of this book, apparently.